Good day. This is Jim Winship for Diplomatic Connections magazine at the Madison Hotel in Washington, D.C. And we're with James Horsman, who is Vice President of Operations and Managing Director of the hotel, as it undergoes a dramatic renovation and a return to the Washington scene in a new way. So, Jim, welcome to
Thank you.
Diplomatic Connections. We're glad to have you here. Tell us a little bit about this hotel, the Madison, and maybe a little bit about its history, and then we'll talk about your theme, the return of an icon.
All right, thanks, and it's great to be with you. The Madison Hotel, she opened back in 1963. Actually, John F. Kennedy did the opening of the hotel, and for a very long time, the Madison was really the address in Washington. If you were anybody, it was anybody. World leaders, diplomats, congressmen, titans of industry, you stayed at the Madison. And over the years, obviously, Washington grew, more hotels came in, and the Madison kind of went to sleep. All right? And we certainly saw the value in taking the Madison and bringing her back to kind of where she was during her glory days, and that comes into the return of an icon. Mm-hmm. So really what we want to do is we want to bring the Madison back into the forefront of Washington society and business, and restore some of her former glory.
And Jim, obviously the byword in real estate is location, location, location. What about the Madison, for people who don't know Washington or maybe have forgotten the location of the hotel? Where are you, and what makes that location particularly unique in Washington?
We're blessed with a phenomenal location here in Washington. We are a short 5 blocks to the White House, and certainly a very short jaunt to all of the museums and so forth along the National Mall. We are in a very vibrant section of Washington with the restaurants and the cafes, the bistros, the art galleries and whatnot that are coming in. So whether you need convenience to the embassies, which we are just down the street from, or whether you're here to see the sights, it's a wonderful, wonderful location.
What's the return of an icon? Let's start with the second part of that. What made the Madison iconic?
What made the Madison iconic was, this was the hotel in Washington. It was known for its incredible service, the amenities, the design of the hotel. Certainly its location, and when she opened, there were really no true modern luxury hotels in Washington, D.C. So it really became the gathering place for, again, any world power, or world leaders, I should say, senators, titans of industry, and Washington society.
So you were here before K Street was here, almost.
Yeah, you think about it. Yeah, that's it. Good point.
So the return of an icon. What are you doing to turn the hotel around, to position it? Now where there were very few, if any, real luxury hotels in 1963, Washington abounds in hotels that call themselves luxury hotels. What will make the Madison stand out? What's this return all about?
That is a great question. And there are a couple of things I want to touch on. You hear us use the terminology. You hear the terminology used. Oh, they're going through a $22 million renovation. I think you need to be very careful when we say that. It's really more of a $22 million redesign and repositioning. A renovation kind of makes you think that, oh, they're going to take what they had, fix it up, and it's still going to be the same.
New carpets, new drapes.
Yeah, exactly. And really, when you look at what we're doing, we are redesigning. We're really going back, and we're taking various influences from Washington and incorporating it into what the Madison is going to relaunch as. So, that's the first thing. We squarely look at competing with the Ritz-Carltons, the Mandarin Orientals, the Four Seasons, and so forth in the city. We don't want to be a Ritz-Carlton or a Mandarin Oriental, all right? But we want to be a viable option to those hotels. When you think of the amenities that you would find in a traditional luxury hotel, whether it's the 300 thread count, Egyptian cotton sheets, the feather beds, the plasma screen TVs, and so forth, we all have that. You'll find it here. I think what really separates us, though, is that it's luxury, but it's almost a modest version of luxury. I'll tell you what, I always conjure this in my mind is I think of that classic country house hotel, and we've brought that into the city. So where you still get what people would consider to be, a luxury product. It's done in, almost a casual way, in a very genuine, in a very modest way, in a very comfortable way, almost like going to a great friend's home and, plopping down in the living room and just feeling that natural comfort that you're in surroundings that, again, are very comfortable and it's still refined.
Service, obviously, is a big part of that. And I know that I think there are even some staffers who may have been originals on the staff.
Yes, we actually...
Can you tell us a little bit about the staff?
Well, we are blessed. And I think one of the reasons why, for so long, the Madison has been able to maintain its presence in Washington is clearly because of the ladies and gentlemen that are part of this organization. And we do have a number of staffers that have been here. So we're blessed with that. When you look at the number of again, ladies and gentlemen that we have within the hotel that have been here for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, it's a pretty big number. And there's a great sense of pride. I mean, a tremendous sense of pride that they have, because they remember the old days. They understand where it was that they come from, and so they eagerly anticipate what we're doing, and we work together in order to really relaunch the hotel. I don't care how fancy you make the stage. If the acting isn't great, it's uneventful. All right. And we're very fortunate because service is really what we sell. I mean, that's the product, that's the commodity that our client is looking for. And we have a team of dedicated professionals that clearly understand it, they live it, they breathe it, they sweat it. That I think is one of the key reasons why I feel very comfortable being able to say we're going to relaunch this icon. It's that intimate relationship that the guest has, and that intimate, I should say, interaction that the guest has with each one of our players that they remember. They may not remember what they ate, they may not remember the color of the rim, but they remember that interaction. And that is so critically important because when that's right, when it's good, all right, when it's memorable service, brings people back. They can't get enough of it,
The hotel is now, it's under new ownership, under new management as this renovation, as this return of an icon goes forward. Jim, what do you try to learn from the past of the hotel? Do you sit down with those employees and say, what do you remember about this place? What do you treasure about this hotel? Your own memories of what it was like and how we can make that true again?
That has been a key factor in a lot of what we do. There is such a wealth of knowledge and experience amongst the ladies and gentlemen that we have here that, you hear the stories and in the different players that came here and how they've done things and what worked and what didn't work and what has worked over time and what hasn't worked. and we take it all in. I rely heavily on the input from every single lady and gentleman in the organization. Whether you're a housekeeper, a steward, guest services, guest reception, it is critically important that everybody has a say in how the work gets done, and everybody has a say in what we're doing in bringing back the Madison.
What are some of the hallmarks of that bringing it back? Some of the things that you're trying to accomplish as you go through this redesign process?
Well, I'll tell you, there are a few things. When you go into the guest room, all right, quite frankly, over the years and different management and different ownership, they kind of made changes, and it was, honestly, it was a nice guest room. It was kind of a generic guest room. You walk in now and you look at the custom treatments, you look at the antique reproduction, toile wallpaper, the tufted leather wingback chairs, and the artwork that we have. You even look at the chair rail in the brand new bathrooms, and you walk in and say, "Wow, I'm in Washington D.C." I mean, you can definitely feel that you're in Washington D.C. based on the design. I think that's very important. It's a great melding of the tradition that you see in this city from an architectural standpoint, and modernism. So
and I have to say that was one of the things that has really struck me about this as I've walked through the hotel, Jim, is that you resisted the temptation to try to redo colonial Williamsburg, if you will. So there's a lot of Federalist style in the building, but there are also enormous modern touches. It really is a blend of that, the tufted wingback Federalist chair and fireplaces, but with a very modern feel to it at the same time.
Yeah, we like to believe that it's a modern adaptation, all right, of 18th century Washington. We actually used Washington's plantation as a study in how we wanted to do this, and I think you hit the nail on the head. We're not trying to create a reproduction of Williamsburg. All right. Again, it's that blending, that melding of today and yesterday, and taking in consideration the architectural delights that you have in this region and certainly in this city.
What's available to people thinking about special packages now as the hotel rebrands itself, redesigns everything? What are the things that are available as part of this celebration of a grand reopening, redesign of the Madison?
Well, one of the things that, or I should say a number of things that we're working on right now are, we're putting together kind of a list of all the different things that go on in Washington to, some of the major, we've got the 100th anniversary of the Cherry Blossom Festival coming up, to some very unique and special events that normally only the locals know about. And we're trying to put together, we're in the process of putting together specific packages for all of these, so that if you are with your family, your significant other, your spouse, friends, and say, hey, geez, we want to maybe go down to Washington in a couple of weeks. I wonder what's going on. You can go to the website and you can actually see what's going on, and we try to put together different packages based specifically on those different events, so that it's always relevant. It's not the same old generic, Valentine's Day or Thanksgiving or whatever it is, their 4th of July.
Sure.
They're fun, they're unique, they're special.
No, I was tickled when I looked at your website to see that last year you had picked up on the visit of the Dalai Lama to Washington. I thought you may be the only hotel that I'm aware of that actually packaged that in a way that was both effective and hit something that was truly unique to Washington at that time.
I have to tell you, I wasn't sure how well that was going to work, but it was very well received, and we were very pleased with the outcome. So, you know, touch wood, it worked.
Hey, you have to have a leap of faith here or there.
Oh, that's kind of, you know, we're very entrepreneurial, so we try a lot of different things and whatnot. So we're excited because we're going to launch our formal website in the around the middle of February. So everyone's going to need to go to that because it's going to be kind of fun. It's going to be real exciting.
Good, good. I'm a tourist coming to Washington. You started to hit on this, Jim, but let me make it a little more explicit. I'm going to ask two questions. One, I'm a tourist coming to Washington. What's the attraction of the Madison? Or I'm an embassy setting up a meeting in Washington. What's the attraction of the Madison? So
well,
let's start with the tour.
We'll start with, you know, whether you're coming from London or whether you're coming from Cleveland, all right? I think what really is a great attraction, I think what really attracts people to the Madison is, you know, location, all right? You know, you can't get around it. You're 5 blocks from most of the major attractions. Very easy walk. You are very close to public transportation, all right, and you know, our rail system here. So, you know, that, as far as convenience is concerned, is tremendous. We've got a trained staff that really goes out and it, you know, our whole mantra is, you know, experience Washington like a local. So we have a trained concierge staff that is dedicated to really coming up with some pretty unique venues for people who are coming in. Yes, you know, you've got the traditional venues with the monuments and the Smithsonian, but coming up with, again, very unique things that you typically wouldn't expect. Having that on the website too, so people can actually go and see that. I think that's something that's very unique. The level of service that you get, I think it's important that, yes, we're a luxury brand, and you know, service is what we sell, but we do it in a very comfortable manner. Whether you're a family of 4 or 5 or 6, or you're a couple, or you're just a couple of friends coming in. We really cater to families, individuals, all right, and couples. So from a tourist standpoint, I think that having, you know, location, the commitment to really finding those unique little treasures that we have here in DC proper and in the surrounding area, and the commitment to service bodes very well. Now, let's move over to the embassies.
Right.
All right. You know, slightly different needs when you look at the embassies. I spent a number of years in the Middle East, and certainly in another lifetime, we used to do a lot of business with embassies. You know, they're looking for a location that is going to be very sensitive to what their needs are. You know, we have staff here that, while we don't have every single nation represented, we have quite a few, so that there's always somebody here that can relate to whichever embassy that it is. The level of service and discretion, all right, is very important, and so we certainly understand that you have to provide great, genuine, world-class service, but you need to be discreet in what you do and how you do it. We actually have staff that we've put through different training so they understand the cultural differences and nuances that you know, these different embassies bring in. So that, again, is something that's very, very important. And then again, flexibility. We are extraordinarily flexible in what we can do for the embassies. You know, we're very fortunate because we have 3 presidential suites, where most properties might have 1 or 2. So, you know, when you look at the physical plant, it bodes well for the needs that embassies have. So, you know, I think if you put that all together, it's a, you know, it's a natural. And, you know, a lot of people that have over the years traveled to Washington, the Madison is the name that, oh, yeah, I've heard of that. All right, so, you know, there is a recognition there.
What about, you hate to ask the question, but it's a critical question in this day and age. What about security and facilities?
Don't ask the question. No, kidding.
That's fine.
Security is very important. You know, we take, obviously, as do, you know, most hospitality organizations, we take you know, life safety very, very seriously. We have a we have a dedicated life safety department. We are tied into the various agencies within Washington, so from a local and from a national perspective, so we get the alerts and we know what's going on. We have put in a number of processes so that we can always ensure the safety of all of our, whether it's embassy or whether it is the individual guests coming in from wherever. That is something that is critically important to us. And we work, we do a lot of embassy, very pleased to be able to do a lot of embassy business. So we work a lot with the State Department, we work a lot with the actual embassies themselves and their security. And we have a reputation for being easy to do business with when it comes to that, all right? Because we understand the importance.
What about other facilities, for example, meeting facilities, banquet facilities, the kinds of things that would be important to holding high-level meetings here at the hotel?
Yeah, we, part of the redesign, renovation, rebirth, reintroduction of the Madison is certainly our function space. We have roughly 12,000 square feet that we have gone through, top to bottom, all the way around, and really brought it into the 21st century, whether it's getting rid of the old grease boards and putting 60-inch plasmas in all the rooms, making certain that from a technology standpoint, all right, which is also something that's very important for business, for embassy, for everyone, that we are certainly in the 21st century with all the technology that we offer here, all right, and done in a very aesthetic way. So I mean, when you go and you look at our meeting space, not only does it flow very nicely, but you've got a variety of different sized rooms to meet really different needs. Some are very, very private, all right. Some it would be much better for receptions and state events and so forth, and everything done very artistically. So as you had mentioned, you walk through the lobby and you kind of see the design ethos that we've got going on here, and you go to the Federalist, which is attached to the hotel, phenomenal restaurant right next to the
that was
Madison.
my next question.
Yeah. You can see that the space lends itself very well to a society function or an embassy function or a high-level board meeting or gathering, political functions. We do quite a few of those. So it works out and blends very well with the needs that our client base has.
Now you touched on the Federalist. Let's talk about the restaurant side of the hotel and this new identity for the restaurant and sort of the concept underlying it, which I think is a really nice blend of the historic and the modern as well.
Yeah, well, the Federalist is really a phenomenal restaurant that just happens to be attached to the Madison Hotel. So we're very fortunate. Harper McClure is our chef, who is just a phenomenal talent, young talent. And when you look at the aesthetics of the restaurant, again, you go back in time. It's a modern adaptation of a public house that you would find in the 1700s. All right, certainly an upscale public house that you would find in the 1700s. And the cuisine, it's cutting edge. There's this movement that it's just beginning to really take shape, and that is kind of going back in time, pulling out these recipes and then bringing them forward.
Right.
And that's exactly what what we're doing. We're taking 18th century recipes. You look at Jefferson, who was quite the culinarian.
Right.
And taking those and then looking at the rich abundance of product that we have right here in our region, and melding those together with a modern twist, and that's the Federalist. Whether it's turtle soup, or some of the other our take on mac and cheese goes back 300 years. People don't realize
Comfort food is a tradition.
Yeah. People don't realize that today you shake it out in a box. The way we produce it is the way it was done 300 years ago.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun, and we use a lot of heirloom herbs, heirloom vegetables.
I was going to say I was impressed by the use of local produce and very traditional produce as well.
Yeah, well,
it's part of these recipes.
Yeah, it's interesting. The mantra probably 7 or 8 years ago was this farm to table. Everybody was farm to table, and now you don't really market it because it's expected. It's expected, and we certainly understand and value the importance of keeping it as local as possible, being able to verify the source, being able to verify the meats that you're getting in and whatnot. And a couple of things that are interesting. We actually are working with a farmer who is going to plant different product for us. We guarantee that we're going to buy it up, but this way we have absolute control of how it's planted, when it's picked, all right, so that when you sit down and you enjoy some asparagus, I'll tell you more about that asparagus than you'll probably ever want to know. Who picked it, when it was picked, and how it was grown. But it's important. People want to know that, all right? And the same thing with heirloom vegetables. What a lot of people don't realize is that heirloom vegetables are far more nutritious than their modern counterparts, because a lot of that has been, basically developed out of them. So not only does it taste good, and not only is it interesting, but it's better for you.
I mean, it's indicative of something I think that you've said all the way through. There's a lot of care, there's a lot of concern, and there's a lot of imagination built into the package all at the same time. And it's unusual because it's not just historic restoration of a hotel. I like your phrase, reimagination. So what are the plans for the grand opening and beyond?
Well, we're not necessarily going to do a grand opening, all right? I tend to be fairly cautious, all right? And so, I would rather quietly relaunch and then down the road we'll do something. We really haven't decided what we're going to do, but I really want to make certain that everything goes right. All right, and that if we're going to make a commitment to a customer, that we're able to live up to that commitment. So, we will certainly walk before we run. But, down the road, what is it we anticipate? We anticipate, again, taking our rightful spot as a Waschington icon, certainly in the hospitality side of the business. I believe that we'll be able to attract new business into the area, and quite frankly, I think we're going to be able to take quite a bit of business from some of the comp set and whatnot. Again, being able to deliver to our client base what it is they want, not what we think they want, what they want. All right, and I think that's very, very important. We're very fortunate because we are passionate about what it is we're doing. As I tell, and my staff will tell you this too, that, I don't take myself very seriously, but I do take what I do very seriously. And we are very passionate about service. We're very passionate about creating something that is memorable. Whether you're coming in for a one-day meeting out of New York, or whether you're coming in for 5 days of holiday out of the UK, all right, we want that experience to be memorable, to be special, to be something that when you walk out of here, when you leave the Madison, you keep thinking to yourself, I got to get back there. I need another fix of this. All right, a safe haven. All right, a safe haven from all the trials and the tribulations you deal with out there. All right, that's something that's very important to us, and it's not just me saying it. You talk to the doorman, you talk to guest reception, you talk to any of these professionals, and they'll tell you the same thing, and you'll see it and you'll sense it, and that's a big difference. They're not doing their job because they have to; they're doing it because they choose to, because they want to. And I think that's what separates us from a lot of the competition out there.
So the reconceptualization of the hotel, the remake, if you will, goes on through the spring of 2012 and should be done May or so
Yeah,
completely?
we will have 95% of it done by really the end of April. I mean, there'll be a few rooms left in May to finish out, but for all intents and purposes, everything else is done. I mean, the cafe, which is Postscript, the outdoor, we have outdoor dining on M Street. We're going to have outdoor dining on 15th Street. All of the lobby area comes back, and all the meeting space, the function space comes back somewhere between February 1 and the middle of February. So then it's just finishing out the remainder of the guest rooms.
Right. So there's a very clear and very rapid timeline for the remake, but there are no limits on the passion, it sounds like.
Well, that's it. And if you're gonna, I've been doing this for 30 years.
And it sounds like you've had a good time doing it.
You know what? It has been the ride of a lifetime. I truly, I could, if I had to do all over again, I'd do it all over again. All right. I've enjoyed it, and again, being here at the Madison in Washington at this time, surrounded by such a phenomenal team. It's what it's all about. It's why I'm a hotelier.
It's a great note to end on. Jim Horsman, thank you very much for talking with us and letting us learn about the recreation, the reconceptualization of the Madison Hotel. And to the readers of Diplomatic Connections, thanks for joining us on our website. Good day.
Come stay with us.